if you do not reach, and you say I'm going to reach point P in 6 months, and this is what that point P is. Now suppose you do not reach point P in 6 months. You reach, I'm not going to release the money next 15 years. Because I'm now not sure you're going to reach there. So for me, why should I put good money behind that? Okay? But I'm not touching your equity. I'm just delaying the tranche. It's called tranching of investments. Now you reach it in the 7th month or the 8th month, whatever, right? You put it up 15 years. There is a company where we overlooked the milestone for a very different reason. It's a company called TaxPan. Okay, it is on e-filing. We invested, and the next budget announced that people with 5 lakh salary will be exempt of filing. So suddenly his market dropped. So he needed money to re-jig his whole market. We still invested. So all those, it's not a binary decision. There are a lot of factors. So that's one issue on milestone. The second issue on milestone is that you told me that, in 1 crore, by you investing 1 crore, I'm going to reach from point A to point C. You've not done it. I don't see the value to my investment. Correct? So how do I manage? I go back to this model. Either I get you to dilute and I give money to someone else to come and do that part of the role, number one, or I get you to dilute and I give that equity to another investor to put in money. I'm not going to dilute because I haven't seen the value of my money.
So do you have such kind of framework?
Yeah, we have agreements.
Okay, so milestone usually, for example, let's say most cases I've seen there's a problem with marketing. Most of the technology startups have an issue with marketing. So can you bring in marketing guys for if an entity is ready to dilute?
Yeah, we can bring in whatever is required.
So you do have such kind of frameworks in your,
No, I'm not understood. What do you mean frameworks?
Framework means you will have to do some kind of evaluation where you find that okay, this company has this potential of reaching this milestone, but they are lacking. Let's take a specific example where in sales.
No, it's a negotiation. Either we put it in the agreement upfront that if you do not do this, this is what you will die. That's one way. The other is that you've suddenly fallen off the cliff. It's a negotiation. See, please understand, business is not science. There's more creativity than there is science to perform that. Every situation, every instance creates a new model.
But his question was that whether the angel will support the weaker areas by strengthening those aspects.
Yeah.
So that is what you meant by saying. Yeah. We would put in as much as we can, but after that, the execution has to be done by you. We are not 24/7 on the job. Let's take marketing. Hey, as you raise that point, we say, okay, you have to do online marketing, you have to go to this thing, you go and sell like this, create this collateral, create this product packaging. You list out 5 things, right? Out of which you've only done 1. I'm not going to implement it for you. I'm not going to execute it for you. That's your thing. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
If I have to execute, then I better be sitting inside your office 24 hours. And I have to then give up whatever else I do. That I'm not going to do. You don't want me to do that. Because then you are not a founder, you are a CEO. Or you are an executive in the company. I'm not going to do that. I can sit with you, I can link you up, I can give you ideas, I can help you draw up your strategies, I can help you negotiate, I can tell you go to my vendor, he's going to do it cheaper for you. All of that I'm willing to do. But I'm not going to do it. I can write an email, I can call up a customer and say give him an appointment. You have to go and close the deal. You have to negotiate. Are you getting the difference? Yeah, I'm not going to go and negotiate the deal. Sorry. Because then you're not an entrepreneur. overview and you'll see how much depth you will go when you get this. Now you will start thinking for each of your companies on how much deeper you can go. Okay, so this is a overview. Otherwise we'll be spending 7 days here, which I don't intend. So what we first need to understand is what is your product? What is your proposition? In fact, this morning in the flight I was reading a business plan. I learned about the entire clean tech technology arena without understanding what the guy is. And it's very common. What is your product? Is it a product? Is it a SaaS product? Is it a prototype? Is it an app? Is it a BaaS? What is it? What is it? You won't believe it, but the simplest things get missed out. And I'll tell you why it gets missed out. Because you've been dreaming, living, sleeping with it, right? So to you, this is assumed. For us, it's not. Okay? What is it? Second, is this something that has already been developed, or is it under validation, or is it a concept? Very simple question. This is what I will ask. Tell me the status. I'll leave the slides here. I'm not going to take them away. Third, who is going to buy your product? Has it been defined? So who is the application developer selling to? Is he selling to the end consumer? Is he selling to the app aggregator like an Apple? Is he selling to the channel? Telecom operator. And how do I know who's the customer? Who is going to write the check to you? How he makes his money is not what I do. First I want to know who is the customer. Okay? And why does he need this product? Is there any good reason why he needs this product? So I had this, I'm trying to in my mind think of mobile examples, that's why I'm taking a little time. But I had this guy who said, I have perfect product. What is it? He says, you call up and the message will go as a SMS. Why do we need it? Who needs it? Sorry? No, there is a need. I'm not denouncing it. The need is for people who are illiterate in the villages who don't know the alphabets. They talk, right? If it's multilingual, it's a huge benefit. Think about it. Who's your customer? That's why you go back. If the customer is there is a need. Okay? Is it doing something different or different? It's a very common thing that I say. So why am I saying that? Is this going to get the customer to do something different? Is he going to, so what are you doing different? You're doing mobile payments? Is that different or different?
Different.
It's different, right? The whole BPO industry is built on doing something differently. There is value creation. So what I'm trying to say over here is also that you don't have to be unique in your technology or product. You could take the same functional expertise, you could take the same technology, apply it differently and create something different and value. So they took the same tally and the traditional accounting mechanisms, right? That people were doing the HR and personal care, but that's how the BPO industry started. You just said, listen, you focus on core, we'll do all of this for you. Same thing can happen. What has Part3 built itself. Part3 today is just marketing and branding. Everything else is outsourced, right? Most of you are from mobile, right? So you know this. So how have they created value? They've created value differently. Are they anything on telecom? IBM is doing all the work. So how can you create a different proposition? How can you create a different experience and a different benefit to the customer? Is it a need to have or a nice to have? Now, both of these are entrepreneurial ventures. Let me explain it with a different proposition. This class of investors, angels, VCs, risk takers, want to invest in companies which there is a need and there is a large market. So the easiest explanation is you have clothes, right? Now you have boutiques where you have outfits which are 50,000, 60,000, 80,000 outfits, right? There is a market for it. There are clients. There are customers who are paying that. There are customers who are also paying 50,000 bucks for a pair of shoes. But it's a very small market. That boutique is a boutique. The name boutique is that it's either a one or two outlet shop. That's what boutique is. So it's a very profitable business, don't get me wrong. But what it is doing, it is a more cash generating business. It's not a value creation business. The value creation here means share value. On the other hand, if you go to a Kishore Biyani store, future store, right, you see racks and racks of ready-made clothes, right? Now that's catering at $1,000 or whatever, 1,200, whatever. But who's buying it? People who need it. You have a choice, but you're going there because you need it. How many of us really walk into a boutique? It's not a need for us. I would love to aspire there and say, I'd like to have that. It's a nice to have, right? But I do need to walk into a future mall and pick up clothes. This is where this class of investors are interested, because the margins here are much lower, right? So there is very little instance of cash dividend coming at the end of the year. But the share valuation is going up on the basis of top line, on the basis of market, or all of that. So for this class of investor, you need to ask yourself the question: is my proposition a need to have or a nice to have? If it's a nice to have, this is not the investor class that you need to do. Okay? It's a very good business. It can provide, these are called lifestyle businesses. They are very convenient, and a lot of people in the country do it. There's no disrespect there. But this investor class does not want to invest there. And there are a lot of banks give debt because you can pay back, your cash flows are different. That's a different set of investor proposition. Okay? IP. Why do investors want to know whether you're IP or not? They're not coming there to buy your IP. Please, can I make this very, very clear? In fact, I tell every entrepreneur, do not tell me your secret sauce. Please do not share your formula. Do not share your algorithm. I'm not interested. The only reason I want to know is this proposition going to allow competition to come in, or there's going to be barriers? For us, IP is a barrier. Okay? And the second is, IP is important also when the company goes south. There is some ability for not only the investors but also the entrepreneurs to retrieve some money by selling the IP. Okay, market. I'm going to ask you market. What is the space you're operating in? Sorry? Yeah. And no. What does global mean? What does global mean? So let me give you another example. IBM has a suite of software products. right? Which they've been selling for about 30 years. In their entire value chain, they did not have one bit net suite, which was that when you have a laptop or you have a machine, it was not doing real-time backup in layman's language. So they had all the fancy software, they had all the fancy virus, antiviruses, they had all the ability to configure the laptop to do blah, 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 all of that, right? But there was always this issue that the backup was happening when you did your backup. So let's assume we are very disciplined people, this time now. Every week on a Saturday, I give my laptop to my guy and the guy does the backup, or I do it myself, right? Backup ends at 12 o'clock on Saturday. Over the weekend, I'm flooded with emails, and Monday morning, my machine crashes. Right? I have only been able to retrieve what is backed up till 12 o'clock on Saturday. In their this was their pain area. And this company said, listen, nobody in the IT software products, infrastructure side, was looking at this. So they built that product for that piece of gap. That is the skills. Not look right now. The applicability could be global, therefore the market size could be global, all of that is fine. But what is that piece in that entire value chain where you are operating in and say, this is where my product fits in the jigsaw? Or that this is what is happening in the value chain and I'm changing it with whatever technology I'm doing to create less cost, faster processing, better connectivity. You need to be so laser sharp in identifying your market space. Okay. After you've done that, is it large and rapidly growing? Remember, in my previous slide I talked about need to have, nice to have. Well, it has to be applicable in a very large space for this class of investors. If it is a slow growth market, not interested. If it's a very fast growing market, the question that begets me as an investor to you, can you keep up with that technology innovation? So if you're saying it's a very fast growing market, my next question is, if it's so fast growing that there are going to be a lot many more innovations coming after you, can you keep up with that? When's your next product going to come out? When's your next version going to come out? What do you need for that? All of those questions. So you need to be very, very clear when you're saying fast growing means what. Okay? Who is the competition? Now, most entrepreneurs which I have met say competition, there's no competition. Unfortunately, I don't buy that. So even this has competition. You've heard the famous story about Coke and Pepsi? Yes or no?
Yes. No.
Beer, Sijo, what is this?
Good story. There are a lot of stories, so this I understand good story.
This story, right?
Competition with coffee?
Sorry?
Competition with coffee.
No. You can have coffee, but not Coke. So Coke was losing market continuously against Pepsi. And in Latin America and Brazil, in one quarter, Coke gained market over Pepsi. So this guy, whoever was the guy, Latin guy who was presenting, he says, hey, thrilled to bits, we beat the Pepsi mark. So he went there and he pitched to the, whatever, the review to the Coke CEO and says, we've done very well. He says, how many crates of water bottles went? So what he was trying to say is your competition is not Pepsi alone, it is also water. The reason I'm saying this is you may think your competition is another VAS player or another app player. No. Your competition is what is that customer using today is your competition. Okay? So for a mobile, when the mobile industry, the competition was not another mobile player. Airtel was not competing against Vodafone at that time. At that time it was known as Hutch or SR. Right? Competition was how many land phones are there. And they were tracking the growth or the decline of land phones versus the growth and decline of the mobile phones.
Sometimes the competitor comes from totally different market also.
Absolutely.
Like
The Chinese have taken
during
over.
the recession time, the airlines, the biggest competitors were Cisco systems. Because the higher levels who used to go and meet the client, they used to
Absolutely. They used to
do it
be
on Cisco system.
We
for
were
them.
talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with this alarm clock.
Yeah, it
Mobile
just
phone.
vanished. What has happened to Kodak? What has happened to Xerox? Xerox used to, it became the word, people used to use it as a common noun, right? To say for photocopy. It doesn't exist. What happened to cameras? How many of us really go print photographs? I don't know. How many of us really carry a camera? I don't even carry a camera. Unless I'm going on a holiday. I don't carry a camera, but I'm still shooting, right? So, understand it. There's another aspect of communication which I should also. So there are, right now I'm not being able to think of one, but there are a lot of products and technologies the world has given which didn't work. And not because they were bad products or bad technology. They were just too early. So when you have competition, it also endorses the market. If there is a customer who will buy it. So it's sometimes good to, if you're a very early player in that space and you're saying, I'm unique and this has never done before. Actually, to give an investor confidence, it's a good idea to have a bit of competition. The point is you need to then say that how this competition exists, this is where they have done, we are taking it to the next level and this is where what we're going to do next. That's the second level of conversation. But, disowning competition, first of all, is a no. I never buy it. Anybody who tells me no competition is over for me. Truly and honest. Because I just feel he's not thought through, he's not researched, he doesn't know the space, blah, blah, blah. Right? Second is if you're too early, look for competition. It's a very good idea to quote that. Because for me, it's hedging my risk. There are people paying for this. Right? I forget this. Do you remember Orkut? What happened? Why? Wasn't it the precursor of Facebook?
Facebook came first.
Facebook came first? Okay. But why did Orkut die?
You didn't keep up with the trend.
There's only one reason. Execution.
It was not a platform.
Sorry?
It was not a platform.
No, that's because in hindsight. At that time, they didn't know that there's a platform play, right? It was just execution. So don't denounce competition is what I'm trying to get at. Okay? And therefore, if there is competition, how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to collaborate? Have you heard of the word co-opetition?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you know where it's most famous in India? The software industry. Do you know that? How? Every single major of the IT industry are competing for business, am I correct? Wipro competes against Infosys, Infosys competes against Cognizant, but they all collaborate and come together when there is an industry issue. Number one, that's how they fought the visas. Number two, and I know this because I have been a part of this. We used to sign within ourselves, NIT, IIS, all of us sign, we will not headhunt people on certain skills from each other's companies. We collaborate. Because what we realized, if we don't collaborate, there'll be outsiders who pick these up and we will become redundant. So collaboration with competition is not bad. It's not bad, but you have to be smart about it. And it may not work, that's also fine. But at least you must have a strategy to say, this is competition, this is what it's going to do, this is how I'm going to beat it. If they do, you have to keep thinking the next step. Because remember, he's also seeing you as competition, and he's always think he's going to do better thinking than you. I always think. So if he's going to think better than you, then you need to think better than him. So, and this is another very big investor confidence giving exercise. I do tell entrepreneurs, identify competition, work through the strategy of how you're going to handle it. Because he's not, you cannot wish him away. That's the reality. Just as he can't wish you away. Okay? And at the end of it, you've identified competition, you've identified your market, you've got all the strategies. Is there a customer who's paying for your product? That's my question. At an investor. Who's going to buy it? Has he, what you say you've done this differently, who's buying it? Does he see that difference as something which is of great value to him? If he keeps going back to your competition, then you need to do something about your proposition. Because at the end of the day, the value of your product is when you collect the funds, not in how good the technology is. Truly. Please. Okay, execution. So now you have market, figure out what your proposition is, figure out what your competition is. Now comes a little bit of hard work. How are you going to deliver this? Do you have whatever is required? Do you have the technology? Do you have the equipment? Do you have the partnerships that you need? How are you going to handle it? What is delivery? Where does it start? Where does it end? Have you identified that? Does the delivery start before the customer signs or after the customer signs? For me, it would start before. Delivery starts with the pilot also, correct? Because if the pilot doesn't go well, there's no order. Where are you going to do a pilot? How are you going to price it? How many hours are you going to quote? All of that goes in. Is it a product which is going to get downloaded as a SaaS product? Have you got your hosting right? How is your hosting service risk mitigated? Otherwise you're going to fall flat, correct? If it's a shrink product, which of course doesn't exist, which are your channel partners? Where are you going to showcase it? How quickly can someone buy it? Are you going to load it on eBay? Are you going to load it on Flipkart or on Amazon? Where? Because all of these elements go into your delivery. If the customer doesn't get it, he's not going to pay for it. Period. It cannot be sitting as a product in your company, in your office. It needs to get out there, and the customer needs to reach the customer. We've had situations where we were talking about a dairy farm project. Okay, this is organic milk, great idea. How are you going to deliver it? He got it from the cows, he refrigerated it at the right temperature, he did the logistic chain of getting it to the city. But from the point in Bangalore to the guy's house, how is it delivered? Are you packaging it? Are you giving it in a can? How is it going to happen? Are you going to deliver it? Is he going to come and pick you? I'm just getting down to this logistic level. That is the last mile you have to think of it. And then, how does that last mile become cost effective? So why do e-com companies fail?